What up, what up, what up? This is Colin Nathan Alim, the real estate boy, and welcome to In Philly Real Estate News, man. I'm going to be doing this at 9 o'clock every Friday, giving y'all the latest of what's going on in the Philadelphia real estate news. So this week, the big article in the Philadelphia Inquirer was the Philly region has gained high income homeowners and lost those with middle to low incomes. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Philadelphia and how, according to this article, there's a bunch of high net worth or high income homeowners that are coming into the area, and we're losing our middle to low income folks. Okay. So let's go through this. It says the number of low income homeowners in the Philadelphia metro area dropped by nearly a quarter from 2010 to 2020. High income, matter of fact, I need to get TikTok in on this also. 1 second, Joe. Put up your own money. So they can get up in here also. How do I do this? Boop. I need to go to live and turn this camera around and put the title up here in Philly news. All right. And let me get my back screen. What's my back screen going to be in this joint? Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. I have myself together next week. Let me move this. All right, y'all. So again, the number of low-income homeowners in the Philadelphia metro area dropped by nearly a quarter from 2010 to 2020. High-income households increased to almost a third of the home-owning population. So if you're in Philadelphia, what they're saying is that you should have seen that there were a bunch of high-income homeowners coming into the city, and the middle and low-income homeowners are moving out the city. So let's go through this article and see what it says. This is from my girl Michelle Bond down at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I really like her stuff. I mean, she seems to be the only one that's really pinpointed down there as far as speaking on Philadelphia real estate. So shout out to her. So her article says that high income homeowners accounted for 71% of the 8.2 trillion in housing wealth gained in the last decade, and low income owners just 4%, a gap that is increasing over time. And this is according to NAR. NAR is the National Association of Realtors. So here what they're saying is that high income homeowners accounted for 71%. That's a third, okay, of the $8.2 trillion in housing wealth gained in the last decade. From 2010 to 2020, as home prices have risen, the distribution of housing wealth across incomes has grown more uneven. Middle income homeowners gained about a quarter of the increased wealth, despite being the largest share of the home owning population, according to this report. So real estate is local, is super local, okay? But right here, they're talking nationwide, all right? So nationwide, what they're saying is that in the last decade from 2010 and 2020, so it's 2022. So somebody might say, well, why are you talking about 2020 2010? Because we're in the present. It's hard to really they don't have the numbers, all right? But what they're looking is, okay, over a span of time from 2010 to 2020, there was a gain in the housing market. The gain in the housing market was $8.2 trillion. $8.2 trillion. So, of that $8.2 trillion, the high income homeowners accounted for 71% of that bread. 71%. And as far as the low income homeowners, it's only 4%. Now, we got to qualify what's high income and what's low income. And that's going to come a little bit further in the article. Okay. So the article says the home ownership rate at every income level has declined since the Great Recession, but the largest decline was among middle income households, thanks to home prices increasing and the loss of homes during the foreclosure crisis. The home ownership rate among middle income, well, let's stop right there. Okay, let's go back. The home ownership rate at every level, income level, has declined since the Great Recession. All right. So since the Great Recession, what they're saying is that you have the high income homeowners, the middle income homeowners, and the low income homeowners. So what this is saying is that them owning homes have declined since the Great Recession, but the largest decline has been middle income households. All right. And why? Because there's a squeeze on the middle income. They're not rich enough to kind of have money just work for them. All right. But they're not poor enough to where they're getting on government subsidies. Okay. So there is kind of, it's as if the middle income folks are kind of getting it from both sides. Okay. They're not rich enough so they can just live off their, and I'm exaggerating in this example, but they're not rich enough to where they can just go buy out businesses and just make money off of their stock dividends. Okay. But they're not poor enough where they can get like Medicaid and food stamps. Okay. So the article continues. The home ownership rate among middle income households dropped from about 78% in 2010 to roughly 70% in 2020. The Philadelphia region was one of the metropolitan areas that lost the highest number of middle income homeowners in the last decade, more than 22,000. All right. So in the Philadelphia area, those whose income make them middle income homeowners, 22,000 of them rolled. Okay. They left. Middle income wage earners are increasingly being priced out of home buying. All right. And this is her making this statement. All right. The author of this article is saying that a lot of middle income wage earners are increasingly being priced out of home buying. Why? Because of the run up of prices. The run up of prices. You got the run up of prices now. Interest rates are at historical lows, right? Interest rates are at historical lows. But prices are at historical highs also. All right. It says if a home is not even affordable to the middle income buyers, then that really says something about affordability. All right. This is an economist at the National Association of Realtors said this. But again, he's talking in general. All right. He's not talking about, like, for example, I'm in Philadelphia and most of the people on here are in Philadelphia. So if you're middle income, then in Philadelphia, homes are still affordable. And that's why people are moving to Philadelphia. They're moving to Philadelphia because you have the big city with a small city charm, and also housing is still affordable. So what he's saying, this guy name is Gay something. He's a senior economist and director of housing and commercial resource at the National Association of Realtors, which is NAR. Okay. If you live in Philadelphia and you're middle income, you definitely should be able to afford a house. It says during the same time, the number of low-income homeowners in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, which consists of Camden and Wilmington, dropped by nearly a quarter. Meanwhile, the share of high-income homeowners in the region greatly increased. These owners now make up almost a third of the home-owning population. So in Philadelphia, what this is saying is that the low-income individuals are moving, getting kicked out. I'm not going to say getting kicked out, but they're just being priced out. They're being priced out. Now, we got to define terms as far as what low income means. and they're going to say it a little bit in this article, but low income is around 75,000. I think it's like 76,500 and less is what they're considering to be low income in this article or in their research. They're saying that they're low income. So these low income people who make, or households who make together. So it's not just one person. All right. Households that make together 76,500 in this article are considered low income. So what they're saying here is that nearly a quarter of them, 25% of them, have left Philadelphia. Now, in that time span, people, and being from Philadelphia and being a realtor in Philadelphia, you can say that in 2010 all the way to 2020. I mean, 2010, University City wasn't built up as much as it is now. South Philly, of course, wasn't built up as much. It was definitely on the way. But people since that time are coming to Philadelphia. They're fixing up these blighted properties. And when they fix up these blighted properties, they're trying to sell them for top dollar because it's not a charity. They're in business. And they are selling for top dollar. And as they'll talk about in this article, you got people that's coming from New York, you got people that's coming from DC, and they're coming up. The thing about Philadelphia is that you can reach a quarter, 25% of the entire U.S. population within 5 hours. So just the location. They always say real estate is about location. Well, if that's the case, then Philly, I don't know any other city that is better located than Philadelphia. And people are starting to catch on to it. But here's the thing about us people who are from Philly. Here's the thing about Philadelphians is Philadelphians are here. Okay. And they see the crime that the news is perpetuating every day. This happened. Now, I'm not saying Philly ain't off the chain. I'm not saying that. Okay. But that gets ingrained in a lot of Philadelphians' heads, and they can't see past that. So they can see, but they don't have vision. So they can't see past that. So in their minds, man, Philly sucks. All the crime is so bad. Yada, 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 yada. But when people from outside come in, they don't have that stigma. So they can see, okay, yeah, well, you know what? I see that they fixed up Northern Liberties. All right. Now they're fixing up Kensington. Okay. What's after Kensington? Okay. Looks like maybe Frankfurt. And if you look at the location of Frankfurt, okay, they moved to ATL. Listen, ATL, I love ATL. I'm not saying I'm going there, but I love ATL. I might get in too much trouble down in ATL, man. So I'm a happily married man. Okay. So I'm definitely not trying to go down to ATL. They got too much stuff going on down there. But anyway, they look at Philadelphia, but they can't see. And me as a realtor, I get phone calls from people, investors all day, every day. I get calls from people from DC moving up. I get people from New York coming down. I speak with these folks, and it's crazy because when I'm talking to them, they're like, man, they love Philly. Oh man, the prices. Oh, that. They love Philly. Okay. And when they move in it, they raise the price. So anyway, let's get back to the article. So what it's saying here is, let's see. So this national, this researcher said addressing the housing shortage so that houses can be more affordable will be critical to changing the pattern of housing wealth distribution. I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't know how you're going to change the pattern, yes, there is a housing shortage. There's definitely a housing shortage in Philadelphia. Okay. There's not enough houses. Okay. So, how would you be able to address this when you have high income individuals moving into the city? Because they're going to pay what the house is worth. And the housing industry isn't a charity business. So, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have people who aren't nonprofits come in and build homes because it's not for profit. Okay, let's continue with the article. It says the National Association of Realtors defined low-income households as those making up of 80% of their area's median income, middle income homeowners as those making more than 80% and up to 200, and high income homeowners as those making more. For a household of 4 in the Philadelphia region, okay, this is where we're getting about the Philadelphia region. The household of 4 in the Philadelphia region, low income would be defined as $75,000 or less. All right. So if you're in Philadelphia and you're a household of 4, all right, of 4, if you making the household, everybody in the household, meaning if it's mom and dad, spouse of the household, if you make $75,600 or less, then according to this, you would be low income. All right. Now, middle income is $75,600 up to $189,000. Again, that's household. So that's mom and dad, or mom, dad, and grandma. All right. So when they say low income, again, if you have a household of 4 and the household income is $75,600 or less, then you would be considered low income. But if you're 75,600 up to 189,000, then you're middle income. And of course, above that is high income. So it says the country as a whole added nearly 980,000 middle income homeowners from 2010 to 2020. But the share of low and middle income homeowners and their share of overall housing wealth shrunk. All right. The share of high income homeowners and their price of housing grew. Their wealth grew. All right. So what is this saying? Now, this is not talking about just Philadelphia. Okay. This is talking about the nation worldwide. All right. So the nation worldwide, they added almost 1 million middle income homeowners, almost 1 million middle income homeowners. Okay. But their overall housing wealth shrunk, where the high income homeowners, their piece of housing wealth grew. All right. So the article says home ownership can be vital in helping households achieve financial stability. And this was said by the president of National Association of Realtors. And this is what I've been saying. I've been saying this, okay, is that home ownership is vital to stability, financial stability. First of all, you got to be safe. You got to be safe. It's the first thing. And then number 2 is when you buy a home, you know what your mortgage is going to be for the next 30 years. You know what your mortgage is going to be for the next 30 years. If you're renting next year, I mean, even during the pandemic, you've probably seen an increase. You've probably seen an increase this year. I just had to raise my rates. I just had to raise mine, meaning that the homes that I own, I raised their rate after 4 years. But things are getting more expensive. You guys see inflation. But what is inflation not affecting? It's not affecting a locked-in mortgage. It's not affecting a locked-in mortgage. It's just not. So we got to get to a point where we're trying to get everybody to be a homeowner. All right. So this the president of the National Association of Realtors also said, We must focus on increasing access to safe, affordable housing and ensuring that more people, hold on, I just got to pop up. Okay. It says we must focus on increasing access to safe, affordable housing and ensuring that more people can begin to amass and pass on gains from home ownership. This is true. This is true. We got to focus on making more people homeowners. That's part of it. But what they're not saying in here is that we got to make sure grandma and grandpa have an estate plan. We got, at least there has to be a will. There has to be a will. What we see time and time again is that when somebody dies and they don't have a will or anything, what's this? Okay. When they don't have a will or anything, what happens is that now grandmom's house goes to probate. So grandmom's house goes to probate, and you got Uncle Jimmy who been in California for the last 15 years. He come out the woodwork, and all these people come out the woodwork, and they can try to attest the will. They can challenge the will. What can they not challenge? You can't challenge a trust. You can't challenge a trust. So that's the next step. All right, that's the next. But at least we got to have a will. At least we got to have a will. So if you're listening to this, okay, stop selling grandmom's house and making. This is true. This is true. But there are situations where one of the people on TikTok says, stop selling grandmom's house and make it an investment property. That's true for the right circumstance. All right. But you got some people who just can't get along. Okay. You got some people who just can't get along. For example, say you got grandpa and grandpa, and your mom or dad has 4 or 5 siblings, and you know they don't get along. Grandmom leaves it to the oldest, but then the others contest it. Anyway, to make a long story short, because this is not what this live is about. But to make a long story short, there's different situations there's different things for different situations. You just got to make sure at the least grandmom and grandpa have a will. Okay, at the least, make sure that grandpa and grandpa have a will. All right. So next, it goes on to say the region's changing ownership population. The region meaning Philadelphia. And when we're talking about Philadelphia, we're talking about Camden. We're talking about Wilmington also. All right. So it says the Philadelphia region's housing market has long been considered relatively affordable. And that's right. Philadelphia, for the most part, has been relatively affordable. Why? Because out of the top cities, Philadelphia is the poorest. Okay. Philadelphia is the poorest big city out there. All right. So it says, but the low wages of Philadelphians make housing unaffordable for many. And this is true. This is true. I have people calling me, up, and they're like, hey, I want to get a house for like $20,000, $30,000. Ain't gonna happen. Listen, everybody on TikTok, I need y'all to tap the screen. Okay. Just tap the screen and give me some likes real fast. Okay. Tap the screen. And if you're on Facebook, then what I need you to do is I need you to give me some likes. Okay. Give me some likes. All right. And we'll just be done with that. So the low wages of Philadelphians make housing unaffordable for many. The average Philadelphian can no longer afford the average Philadelphia house. And this was said by the Drexel economist, the Drexel University economist. And he's right. If you're in Philadelphia and you make a low wage, it's going to be hard for you to buy a home. It's going to be hard for you to buy a home. So if you do have a low paying job, then what do we need to do? We need to get a side hustle. There's so many side hustles out there. Drive Uber, drive Lyft, DoorDash. There's a bunch of things that you can do. All right, a bunch of things. So the article goes on to say the Philadelphia metropolitan area lost 23% of its low-income homeowners between 2010 in 2020. And that's according to the National Association of Realtors. All right. So Philadelphia, I'm talking to Philadelphians right now. Between 2010 and 2020, we lost almost a quarter of the low income homeowners. All right. The region had about 3% fewer middle income homeowners in 2020 than it had a decade earlier. All right. So middle income kind of stayed the same. And we already went over what middle income was. Okay. So middle income kind of stayed the same. Now, so in 2020, the Philadelphia metro population of homeowners, oh, excuse me, I skipped one. Meanwhile, the region's high income homeowners grew by 79%. 79%. 79%. From 2010 to 2020, we lost almost a quarter of the low income homeowners. Middle income homeowners kind of stayed the same, but high income homeowners grew by 79%. You know what my question is? My question is, if that's the case, why haven't we seen an improvement in the Philadelphia school system? All right, so I'm going to break this down to y'all. Schools are funded by property taxes. So if schools are funded by property taxes and property taxes are going up, then why hasn't the school system gone up? I'm going to tell you why. Because of the 10-year tax abatement. The 10-year tax abatement. So let me break this down to y'all for those of you who don't know about this. So what happens is Philadelphia put in a tax abatement. And what they're saying is that, okay, if you go in and you see a row home and you like this row home and you buy it, it's a fixer-upper. Taxes are only about $500 a year. So you buy that home and you fix it up. With this 10-year tax abatement, what happens is that you're going to pay that $500 even though you fixed the house up. You fixed the house up to where it appraises triple. That house you bought for $50,000, now it appraises for $300,000. So what should happen normally is that when it's $300,000, you should pay taxes on the assessed value, which is the $300,000. But that doesn't happen with this tax abatement. So with this tax abatement, and don't get me wrong, this tax abatement drew a lot of interest from developers coming into Philly. A lot of interest. And it's probably the reason why there's so much development, or there's been so much development in Philly. So it's kind of like on both sides. On both sides, on one side, and this is where you have people in Philadelphia fighting in city council on both sides. You got this side over here saying, well, look, if it wasn't for the tax abatement, people wouldn't be coming and doing the development that they've had in Philadelphia. But then you got people on the other side saying, well, no, we're giving these people a tax break. These are people who can afford these taxes and they're not paying them. So meaning we're not getting any of the spoils. What some of the spoils is a better Philadelphia school district. So this is the battle that's going on right now. Anyway, I digress. So, all right. So now the article is talking about what is driving the changes in Philadelphia. Let's get into the end here, y'all. So stay with me. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the income of the home buyers here in Philadelphia, please? Sure. All right. So in Philadelphia, if you're a family of four, all right, your low income, if the household income is $75,600 or less. Okay. So if you're less than that, then you're considered low income. If you're a family of four and your income is $75,600 up to $189,000, then you're considered middle income. And then high income would be above that. So Miss Pretty Mom of three, I just need a quick I just need you to tap the screen so I can get some likes real fast for that. Okay. That's the cost of me answering your question, is some likes. Okay. All right. So what is driving change in the Philadelphia region? All right. Several factors are likely contributing to changes in the region home buying. All right. So what's changing? What's changed? I kind of went over some of the things of why the changes, but they're in this article, they're going to break some of those things down. All right. The old gateway cities, New York, Chicago, Boston, Philly, they're the ones that lost a lot of middle income homeowners. All right. And this, again, this is coming from NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors. That's partly due to the migration of residents west and south to states that have relatively more affordable homes and have seen robust job growth. So they're moving. People who are middle income in Philadelphia, they're moving west or they're moving south. All right. And for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons why people move west, and not always west to California, but they move west to just the west. It's more affordable. All right. Where are the high homes at? All right. The high homes are on the coast. That's where the most expensive homes are, on the coast. So anything that, not anything, but for the most part on the coast, it's high. Home prices are high, but in the middle, they're lower. So what this article is saying, that a lot of the middle income homeowners go west or they go south. And anybody that's from Philadelphia and has been to Atlanta know that half of Atlanta is like Philly. Half of half of Atlanta, half of people who are from Atlanta are from Philly. So, it's a big migration of Philly folks down there. Okay. So the article says high income residents of more expensive areas, such as New York, also have been moving to Philadelphia area, contributing to the rising share of high income homeowners. The Philadelphia region also has continued to attract and retain professionals through its medical and life sciences industries and universities. Philadelphia has a place called University City, which has what? Has a bunch of universities. Okay. So you have a bunch of university faculty, teachers, students coming in town. Philadelphia is becoming the hub for medical and life sciences the industry in the U.S. We have a lot of biotech companies come here. We just had this big development at the Navy shipyard. A lot of places in Philly are definitely popping. So we have those professionals coming in here. So this is why you're seeing these people come in here and they're buying these homes. And what's the signature? You know what? I'm gonna stay away from that. All right. I'm gonna stay away from that. All right. So it says it could reflect some structural shift that's happening to the Philadelphia economy. Yes. Yes. You are seeing more people buying homes. You're seeing, again, the industries come into Philadelphia, and you have, what about the crime? We still got crime, but they got crime in New York. They got crime in Miami. They got crime in LA. They definitely got crime in Chicago. Okay. So the crime is bad, but it's not all right. I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm talking to my people. All right. I'm talking to my people. Y'all ready? Crime only deters us. Crime only deters us. Damn, I'm about to get real on y'all right here, okay? But give me some likes real fast, because I'm about to get real in here, y'all. I'm not gonna like what I'm about to say, and you're not gonna like what I'm about to say, but I need some likes first, okay? Give me a couple likes. I'm gonna give y'all 5 seconds to give me some likes, but I'm about to break this down to y'all, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crime deters us. Why? Because they don't mess with them. They don't mess with them. You see how, for those who know what I'm talking about. Okay? Crime deters us. We go, I got to get out of here. Oh, I'm not buying it. I see this on TikTok all day. I'll have videos on TikTok of going through different homes in neighborhoods that are on the uprise. And that's all I see people do is talk about crime, crime, crime. Oh, what about this? Oh, does it come with a bulletproof jacket? Da, 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 da. Why are we so focused on this? We're focused on this because they don't mess with them. They mess with us. They don't mess with them. Why? Damn, I'm about to get deep on y'all right now. Why culture? Culture. Because in our culture, we have this this no snitch policy. This no snitch policy. But they know if they mess with them, they got the cops on speed dial. They got the cops on speed dial. So again, crime, and I'm talking about this crime because somebody on TikTok put in here, what about crime? Crime only deters us. So what happens is that we'll have a crime-ridden area. We won't buy in there. So it's a crime-ridden area. The prices will be low. They'll come in and buy. So now we're renting. So now when we're renting, they're buying, so that when it's time for the neighborhood to flip and go up, when it goes up, you get kicked out. And either they move in or they sell it or rent it at a higher price. This is the cycle. This is the cycle. Anyway, I don't want to dwell too much on that. All right, so the article says, lingering effects of the housing collapse that preceded the Great Recession also are at play. Low and middle income house owners were more likely to lose homes to foreclosure. Now, what I don't like about this article is they don't say what the Great Recession is. All right. So the Great Recession they're talking about is like 2008, 2009, where we had the Great Recession, where everything kind of went down, and we had the housing collapse, bank collapse, so on and so forth. Okay. So again, it said it takes years to repair bad credit. And it took unemployment rates about a decade to get back to where it was before the Great Recession. By the time suffering former homeowners were able to return to the housing market or the real estate market, housing supply had tightened. They didn't have the home equity to use toward buying a new house, and housing prices had risen. So a lot of things happened. Okay, so what this article is saying, just to break it down a little bit, is that we had the Great Recession back in 2008, 2009, and back around that time. So people were losing their homes because of foreclosures. They were losing their homes, and people went in foreclosure. When you go in foreclosure or you get a bankruptcy or something like that, now that goes on your credit. When that goes on your credit, it takes a while to recover from that. It takes a while to recover from that. How was the NACA program got first time home buyers? I'm gonna get to that right after I get to this. So people were struggling. So those homeowners who did have a home who got messed up in the last recession, by the time they came back to the housing market, housing had gone up. Housing had gone up, right? So let me close this out. So it says high income homeowners have the wealth. Okay, high income homeowners have the wealth to weather financial challenges and were less likely to lose their homes during the foreclosure crisis. All right, low income households are also less likely to be able to afford homes as prices rise, so they may remain as renters. With rising rents and less money to stash away, saving money for home ownership becomes more difficult. So aspiring homeowners are stuck. So what this is saying is now people are stuck. People are stuck because they're trying to save money for homes, but the rent's rising. So if the rent is rising, I got less money to stash away. Okay, that makes sense. Now, in Philadelphia, we do have grants. All right. So if you're somebody that's trying to save for a home, there are grants out there. I don't know why this keeps coming up on my screen. There are grants out there. The Philly First Time Homebuyer Grant is coming out here soon. It's supposed to be coming out soon. All right. So if you do want to get a part of that program, what I need y'all to do is text me at 267-930-1249. Again, that's 267-920-1249. What you want to do is text me and let's talk, and I'll talk to you about getting to that program. And speaking of programs, somebody just came in here and said, how is the NACA program got first-time home buyers? Okay. NACA program, I'm going to speak on this real fast. NACA program is awesome. It's awesome. It's just the hoops they make you go through. A lot of people can't go through it. All right. It's a lot of hoops you got to go through, a lot where most don't make it. All right. So that's all I want to say about the NACA program. So the article continues. The median sales price in the Philadelphia metro was $300,000 in January. All right. This was up from $205,000 in January of 2010. So in January, and I don't see, there's no qualifying this January, whether this is January 2020 or what. But I'm thinking because of the way the article is read, it means January of this year. So the average house, the median house, there's a difference between average and median. All right. The median house. Okay. What's up, T? The median house price in the Philadelphia metro area is $300,000 in January. Okay. $300,000. In 2010. Okay. So 12 years ago, it was 205. Here's the thing. This is why we have to own homes. This is why we got to own homes. Because this investment, if I made an investment in this house and I paid, houses are the only, from what I know, and there could be others. All right. So I'm going to say it like this. Housing is the only investment where I can have all the investment and only pay part of it. Only got to pay for part of it, but I get the whole investment. So I only got to pay for part of it, but I get the whole benefit of the house. So if you bought a house in 2010, in January 2010 in Philadelphia, it would have been 205. Now you go back to that house and you've been living in the house. You've been utilizing the house. Now it's 10 years later, it's $300,000 and you ain't did nothing. You did nothing. Now that's different if you bought it as a fixer-upper and you fixed it up, but you did nothing. And now it's $300,000. And then you sell it, that's $80,000. Now, if you were renting during that time, and this is for my renters, if you were renting during that time, you paid all that money. Yeah, your down payment was $20,000. Okay, your down payment was $20,000. You went through that whole time. What do you got to show for it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is why we got to own some stuff, man. We got to own some stuff. All right, let's get back to the article. It says the region's median property value in 2020 for low-income owners was 407,823,000. Middle income owners was 511,943,000, and high income owners was 769,669,000 according to the census. All right, the regions. I don't know about that. Property value. I don't know about that one. Because what it's saying is that in the region, and maybe they're taking like the Philadelphia, maybe they're going out to like mainline. This person said, I'm young and want to rent, but I have no credit and nobody to co-sign. It's still possible. I have a job. I have been having a hard time trying to find apartments and house. I'm 20, no rental and no credit. I need help. Okay. Next it says consequences. All right. So this article says home ownership is the biggest source of wealth for many people, for the typical family. So if you lose home ownership, you lose access to a major source of wealth. And this is correct. When people's kids go to college, when people want to buy maybe a vacation home, a lot of times they tap into their equity. What does that mean? Is that in our case right here, if we bought the house in 2010 and it cost $205, and now we go to get a home equity line of credit, they're going to go, the bank is going to go, and they are going to do an appraisal on our home. When they do an appraisal on our home, for example, in this example, let's just say our home appraised for $300,000. So we bought the home. Let me just use round numbers. We bought the home for $200,000, and now it appraised for $300,000. Now we've paid the home down, but we want a vacation home. The vacation home, when you buy a vacation home or investment property, you got to put down 20%. Where's that 20% coming from? Either you have it in the bank, or where's that money going to come from? For a lot of people, where it comes from their home. So what they do is they bought the home for $200,000. Now it's $300,000. They need $50,000. Now what they'll do is they'll go and they'll take out a $50,000 loan from their home to buy that other property. That's how they do it. But if we keep renting, we don't have access to this major source of wealth. Okay. It's almost always want to keep this to an hour. So it says that wealth helps families enhance their quality of living, pay for children's education, and climb the income ladder. And that's what I said. You need money to make money for the most part. For the most part, you need money to make money. All right. This last paragraph says, if homes continue to price at this pace, it will be harder for low and middle income households to access home ownership. Policies really need to be geared toward increasing housing supply at the affordable level so more people can reap the wealth gains from home ownership. All right. So how do we make homes more affordable? I don't know. Because when somebody, me as an investor, I'm going to try to get the most money I can for my family, of course. So how do we get people to be able to afford homes? It's just some suggestions off the top of my head. Okay. If you want to institute programs, the first thing we got to do is fix people's credit. Okay. And I do have a credit repair company. So if somebody wants their credit repair company, you can also text me at 267-930-1249. Okay. Or whatever platform you're seeing this on, DM me. But we need to, that's a large, when I talk to people, it's crazy because 90% of people be at 520 or they be around the 500s. And you really only need a 620. Now you can get a loan at 500. You can get an FHA loan at 500. But to get some type of decent type of interest rate, for the most part, you need to be at 620. So they be right there. but it's just some lifestyle changes that we need to do in order to get them to where they need to be. Okay. So that'll be one of my recommendations is to teach credit repair in high school. We need to teach, we need to teach credit repair in high school, not credit repair. We just need to teach about credit in high school. We need to teach about credit in college. Just like they used to have economics, just like they used to have, all these other stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that they need to bring back, but that's one of the things. They need to bring credit repair back. Not credit repair and not back because they never had it before. I misspoke. They need to teach about credit in high school. They need to teach about credit in college. Because that's where I messed up. I'm in college. I'm in business classes. So I'm Mr. Business Owner. Nobody's teaching me about credit at all. At all. So when you walk through the cafeteria, and I told this story before. When you walk through the cafeteria, you stomping through the cafeteria. I don't know why this thing keeps coming up. And you see that new shirt from Discover Credit Card. This is exactly what happened to me. I'm a freshman. I'm walking through, and you always want some new clothes. So you go through the cafeteria, and they give you a nice, crisp white T-shirts. It sounds so juvenile right now, but bet. And you see everybody else that goes on there, and they getting new T-shirts. So hey, I want a new T-shirt, and they just giving out. I almost feel like they just giving out credit cards so they can get you in debt, knowing you don't know nothing. Credit card companies, credit card companies should be required to adopt a high school and go in there and teach about credit. That's what should happen. MasterCard, they're making trillions of dollars by making us so-called credit slaves because we don't know what to do with our credit. And then what happens is that we get behind the 8 ball. Now we got all this credit and all this debt, and we can't get around it. And it winds up messing everything up. So anyway, I'm about to jump off this thing. What I need y'all to do, if you don't know about credit, go on YouTube, learn about credit, learn about how it works. If you need credit repair, make sure you text me. It doesn't matter where you at. You don't have to be in Philadelphia, 267-930-1249 to get some credit repair. If you need credit repair. And if you know about credit, teach your kids. Teach your kids about credit. Okay. So anyway, we're going to be doing this every Friday at 9 o'clock. Every Friday at 9 o'clock, come back on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and what's this other one? YouTube also. All right, y'all. This is Khaled Nathan Aleem. I'm out.